The Silent Cry. The void between stars held many secrets. Captain Maya Donovan knew this better than most as she stood on the observation deck of the UES Argos, Earth's most advanced scientific exploration vessel. Through the expansive viewport, she watched the unfamiliar star cluster that her crew had been mapping for the past 3 months. 37 years of space exploration had turned humanity from tentative visitors into confident wanderers, but the galaxy remained vast and largely unknown. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual signal." The voice of Dr. Elijah Okafor, the ship's communications specialist, came through her comm unit. "It doesn't match any known pattern in our database." Maya tapped her comm. "I'll be right there." The bridge of the Argos hummed with quiet efficiency as Maya entered. The crew, a mix of scientists and space service personnel, worked at their stations with practiced precision. Dr. Okafor, a tall man with close-cropped hair threaded with silver, looked up from his console. "The signal appeared approximately 40 minutes ago," he explained, gesturing to the waveform display. "It's repeating on a 15-second cycle and contains mathematical sequences that suggest artificial origin." "Location?" Maya asked, studying the unfamiliar pattern. Lieutenant Kenji Tanaka, their navigation officer, responded promptly. "Coming from the 4th planet in the Gamma-3 system, approximately 2 light days from our position." Maya considered their options. The Argos wasn't a military vessel, but like all ships that ventured beyond the established colonial perimeter, it carried defensive capabilities. Standard protocol would be to log the finding and continue their primary mission. "Dr. Reynolds, what do we know about that system?" she asked the exobiologist. Dr. Imani Reynolds consulted her database. "Preliminary scans showed it has a habitable planet with atmosphere and water. We flagged it for detailed study next month." "The signal structure suggests desperation," Dr. Okafor added quietly. "These patterns have markers consistent with distress calls across multiple species communication protocols." Maya nodded. Decision made. "Plot a course, Lieutenant Tanaka. Maximum sustainable drive." "Captain." Security Chief Victor Novak interjected, his weathered face betraying concern. "Protocol suggests we should report this to Central Command and await instructions." Maya met his gaze steadily. "By the time our message reaches Earth and we receive a response, whoever sent that signal could be beyond help." "We're investigating." The Argos's fusion drives flared to life, propelling the vessel toward the unknown signal at a significant fraction of light speed. The specialized inertial dampers strained against the acceleration forces as the ship pushed its design limits. 3 days later, they entered the Gamma-3 system. The 4th planet hung in space like a blue-green jewel, remarkably Earth-like with swirling white clouds and vast oceans. "Life signs?" Maya asked. "Extensive ecosystem," Dr. Reynolds confirmed, "and definite technological signatures on the northern continent." "The signal is much stronger now," Dr. Okafor reported. "I've been working on deciphering it using our linguistic algorithms. It's a mathematical language using prime number sequences as a foundation." "And," Maya prompted, "the message repeats. Danger. Hunters. Help needed. Please respond." Maya's decision was immediate. "Prepare a landing party. Chief Novak, assemble a security team. Full defensive protocols." The dropship pierced the wispy clouds of Gamma-3 IV, descending toward a clearing near the signal's origin. The landing party emerged wearing environmental suits, weapons ready but not drawn, a delicate balance between caution and peaceful intent. "Atmosphere analysis complete," Dr. Reynolds reported after consulting her handheld scanner. "Oxygen-nitrogen mix, slightly higher oxygen content than Earth. No detected pathogens. Breathable, but I recommend keeping filter masks on as a precaution." They followed the strengthening signal through a forest of twisted silver-bark trees with iridescent purple foliage. The alien vegetation parted to reveal a structure that resembled nothing so much as a massive crystalline beehive, its surface glinting with subtle bioluminescence. "Movement inside," Chief Novak warned, his hand moving to his sidearm. The landing party halted as figures emerged from the structure. The aliens stood about 5 feet tall with slender bodies covered in what appeared to be fine translucent scales that shifted between azure and violet. They had 4 delicate arms and large, faceted eyes that regarded the humans with unmistakable caution. Dr. Okafor stepped forward slowly, activating a handheld device that projected mathematical sequences, humanity's universal attempt at first contact language. The lead alien's eyes widened, and it produced a series of melodic chirps and trills. Okafor's translation device processed the sounds, struggling to form a basic understanding. "You came," the device translated haltingly. "The hunting ones. Return soon. Great danger." Maya approached, keeping her hands visible. "I am Captain Maya Donovan of the Earth vessel Argos. We received your distress signal." The alien's scales rippled with color. "I am Sirithal, voice of the Vashari Collective." The translation came through. "Our gratitude, immeasurable. Not much time remains." Sirithal led them inside the crystalline structure. The interior contained dozens more Vashari, many of whom appeared injured, their normally lustrous scales dulled to a pale gray. Makeshift medical stations have been established, with the wounded receiving care from their kind. "What happened here?" Maya asked as Dr. Reynolds moved to examine the injured with her scanner. "The Dominax came," Sirithal explained, the translator struggling with unfamiliar concepts. "Hunters from the cold worlds. They take our essence, our life force. For them, we are merely resources." Dr. Reynolds looked up from her scanner, face grave behind her mask. "Captain, these beings have an extraordinary biochemical makeup. Their cellular structure contains compounds I've never seen before, potentially revolutionary for medical applications." Maya understood immediately. "They're being harvested." Sirithal's scales darkened. "Yes. 2 cycles ago, they discovered us. They take many, extract the life essence, discard the remains. We have no natural defenses, no weapons. We are scholars, cultivators, artists." "How many Dominax?" Chief Novak asked, his military mind already calculating potential threats. "1 large vessel, many smaller hunters." Sirithal's upper arms gestured toward the sky. "They will return soon. The harvest cycle begins again." Maya stepped away to consult with her team. "Options." Novak spoke first. "We're a science vessel, Captain, not a warship. We should evacuate as many Vashari as possible and retreat to human space. The Argos can only accommodate a fraction of their population," Dr. Reynolds countered, "and transplanting them to human territory could introduce biological complications we can't predict. Their biochemistry is completely foreign." "We could call for military support," suggested Lieutenant Tanaka. "The UEN Thermopyla is patrolling the Cygnus sector, maybe 8 days away at emergency burn." Maya shook her head. "The Dominax will be back before then." She looked back at the injured Vashari. "These people can't defend themselves." "We can, Captain." Novak lowered his voice. "But I respect your concern. We'd be risking human lives for an alien species we just met. This isn't our fight." Maya's gaze hardened. "Isn't it? Humanity spent centuries fighting among ourselves before we realized that survival means standing together. Now we found a peaceful species being systematically exterminated because they can't fight back. If we walk away, what does that say about us?" Before anyone could respond, alarms blared from their equipment. "Unidentified vessel entering the system," came the urgent report from the Argos. "Configuration matches nothing in our database. It's large, Captain, and it's heading straight for the planet." "The Dominax return," Sirithal whispered, scales paling to almost white. Maya made her decision. "Everyone back to the ship now." She turned to Sirithal. "We'll help you, but we need to know everything about these hunters." As they rushed back to the dropship, the Vashari shared what little they knew. The Dominax were heavily armored beings from a high-gravity world. physically powerful, and technologically advanced. They considered the Vasheri nothing more than biological resources to be harvested. The dropship barely cleared the atmosphere when they spotted the Dominax vessel, a massive dark shape resembling a jagged obsidian shard, accompanied by smaller craft already descending toward the Vasheri settlement. Argos, this is Captain Donovan. Battle stations. Maya's voice was calm but resolute. Power up all defensive systems and prepare to transmit an emergency distress call to Earth Central Command. Maximum priority. She took one last look at the peaceful world below, at the helpless Vasheri who had reached out across the stars for aid. Humanity just entered its first interstellar conflict. The Argos's engines glowed as it maneuvered into position between the planet and the approaching Dominax ships. Though designated a scientific vessel, the Argos carried the legacy of humanity's turbulent history, a species that evolved on a planet classified by galactic standards as a deathworld. A world where life was a constant struggle against predators, disease, natural disasters, and other humans. A crucible that forged a species with unmatched tenacity and an instinctive understanding of warfare. "Hail the Dominax vessel," Maya commanded as she returned to the bridge. All frequencies, universal mathematical greeting. The response came almost immediately, a harsh, grating sound that the translation system struggled to process. "Move aside, unknown vessel. This territory is claimed. The resources below are ours by right of discovery." Maya stood before the communications array, her posture straight and unyielding. "This is Captain Maya Donovan of the Earth exploration vessel Argos. The beings on this planet are sentient and have requested our protection. We recognize their sovereignty and right to exist unmolested. Your harvesting activities constitute genocide against a sapient species and must cease immediately." Silence stretched for several seconds before the response came. "Your interference is noted, Earth vessel. It changes nothing. The weak exist to serve the strong. This is the natural order." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps where you come from. But humans have a different perspective." She nodded to her tactical officer. "Target their lead harvester and fire when ready." The Argos's pulse cannons blazed to life, striking the smaller Dominax craft with pinpoint accuracy. The harvester exploded in a brilliant flash, debris scattering across the planet's upper atmosphere. "Your species is unknown to us," the Dominax commander transmitted, a new note of caution in its translated voice. "What manner of exploration vessel carries such weapons?" Maya's smile didn't reach her eyes. "We come from a world where every day is a fight for survival. We call it Earth. You might call it a death world." The term deathworld hung in the air like a challenge. Throughout the galaxy, most intelligent life evolved on stable, temperate planets with minimal environmental threats. Earth, with its extreme weather, natural disasters, dangerous predators, and virulent diseases, was an aberration, a planet that should have produced only simple organisms. Instead, it created humans. "You have made an enemy today," the Dominax commander growled. "The Dominax Imperium does not forget." "Neither do humans," Maya replied. "Consider this your only warning. Leave this system and the Vasheri in peace, or discover why species from deathworlds are rarely challenged twice." The Dominax mothership held position, sensors undoubtedly analyzing the Argos's capabilities. Maya knew they were outnumbered and possibly outgunned, but humanity had never relied solely on technological superiority. A new wave of harvesters launched from the Dominax vessel, accelerating toward the planet's surface. "They're calling our bluff," Novak said grimly. Maya's jaw tightened. "Who's bluffing?" "All hands, prepare for combat operations." She activated the ship-wide comm. "This is the captain. The Vasheri asked for help, and that's exactly what they're going to get." As the Argos engaged the first wave of Dominax harvesters, Maya sent a final transmission to Earth Central Command. "This is Captain Maya Donovan of the UES Argos. We have encountered a hostile species harvesting sentient life forms in the Gamma 3 system. We are engaging to protect the indigenous population. Request immediate military assistance. The galaxy has just gotten a lot more dangerous, and it's about to learn why you don't threaten those under human protection. The message raced toward Earth at light speed, carrying with it humanity's formal entry into galactic politics, not with diplomacy, but with defiance. When Deathworlders fight, the Argos shuddered as Dominac's energy beams impacted its shields. On the bridge, damage reports flowed in from all sections, but the crew maintained their composure with practiced efficiency. Shields holding at 67%, reported Lieutenant Sonia Reeves, the defense systems specialist. Her voice remained steady despite the gravity of the situation. This was the first time a human vessel had engaged in combat with an alien species. Return fire. Target their weapons arrays, Maya commanded. Launch countermeasures and keep us between the Dominacs and the planet. The Argos's defense systems sprang to life. Pulse cannons tracked the approaching harvesters with deadly precision, while the main batteries focused on the Dominac's mothership. The science vessel executed a series of evasive maneuvers that would have incapacitated most crews with crushing G-forces. But humans were built differently. Evolution on a high-gravity world with punishing environmental extremes had given humanity physical resilience that most spacefaring species found astonishing. What the Argos lacked in specialized military design, its human crew made up for with adaptability and determination, traits forged through millennia of survival on a world that constantly tried to kill them. For 3 hours, the Argos held the line against the technologically superior Dominac's forces. The science vessel was never meant for extended combat operations, but Captain Donovan used every advantage: the planet's magnetic fields, the system's asteroid belt, and the superior reaction time of her human crew to keep the harvesters from reaching the Vasheri. Captain, shields down to 23%, Lieutenant Reeves reported after a particularly vicious barrage. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Automated systems are containing them, but we can't take much more of this. Maya nodded grimly. Time since our distress call. 8 hours, 17 minutes, Dr. Okafor answered. Far too soon for any help to arrive, if help was coming at all. Humanity had never fought an interstellar war. There was no guarantee that Earth Command would risk additional ships for an alien species they'd never met. We need to buy more time, Maya murmured, then raised her voice. Helm, take us into the planet's atmosphere. We'll use it as cover. Captain, the atmospheric friction at our mass. Lieutenant Tanaka began. We'll put additional strain on our shields, I know. But the Dominac ships are built for space combat. Their larger vessels won't follow us down, and we can pick off the harvesters more effectively at close range. The Argos plunged toward the planet, its hull heating as it entered the upper atmosphere. The maneuver was dangerously unconventional, exactly why it worked. The massive Dominac's mothership held position in orbit while only the smaller harvesters followed. They're taking the bait, Novik observed, a grim smile on his face. Their bigger ships are staying up top. Maya nodded. Now we even the odds. Target the harvesters with point defense systems, full spread. The Argos's defensive weapons, designed to destroy incoming missiles and debris, found new purpose as offensive tools against the pursuing Dominac's craft. 3 harvesters erupted in flames as they were caught in the barrage, their burning remnants tumbling through the atmosphere. On the planet below, Sirithal and the Vasheri watched the battle raging in their skies with fascination and dread. Never in their recorded history had anyone stood against the Dominacs. The concept of fighting back was so foreign to their peaceful culture that they lacked even basic words for warfare in their language. Why do they risk themselves for us? Asked one of the Vasheri elders. They have no connection to our people. Sirithal's scales rippled with complex emotions. I believe it is because they can. The humans come from a world that shaped them differently than our peaceful evolution shaped us. They understand what it means to fight for survival. In orbit, the Dominac's commander observed the human vessel's tactics with growing frustration. These humans fought unlike any species they had encountered before, unpredictable, aggressive, and seemingly unconcerned with their own safety if it meant protecting others. Analysis of human biology complete, reported a Dominax science officer. Their homeworld classification is concerning. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, deadly microorganisms, natural disasters, and thousands of predator species. By our standards, it would be classified as a Class 9 Deathworld. The Dominax commander's armored exoskeleton clicked as he shifted uncomfortably. Impossible. No sapient species evolves on Class 9 worlds. The survival pressures are too extreme. The data is conclusive, War Leader. These humans are Deathworlders. Their physiology shows adaptations for high-stress environments, remarkable damage resistance, and unusually aggressive immune responses. Their neural architecture suggests heightened threat detection and rapid decision-making capabilities. The War Leader considered this new information. Deathworlders were rare in the galaxy, species that evolved under constant threat, whose very existence was a testament to their tenacity. Most spacefaring civilizations emerged from gentle worlds with minimal survival pressures. The Dominax themselves came from a high-gravity planet, but one with predictable weather patterns and limited predator threats. Redirect all harvesters to target the human vessel, the War Leader ordered. Such creatures cannot be allowed to interfere with our operations. Back on the Argos, the situation grew dire. Fighting in atmosphere had bought them time, but the concentrated Dominax assault was taking its toll. Shield generators failing, Lieutenant Reeves reported. Weapons capacity at 38%. We can't maintain this position much longer, Captain. Maya studied the tactical display, mind racing through options. What about the plasma venting from our damaged nacelle? Can we weaponize it? Chief Engineer Raman's voice came through the comm. Technically, yes, but it would require manually reconfiguring the venting sequence. Someone would need to go EVA to access the external controls. In an active combat zone. That's suicide, Novik protested. Maya locked eyes with him. Do we have a choice? Before anyone could respond, a new alert sounded. Lieutenant Tanaka straightened at his console, eyes wide. Captain, multiple warp signatures detected at the system's edge. 6. No, 8 vessels approaching at maximum speed. Dominax reinforcements? Maya asked, heart sinking. Tanaka's face broke into a disbelieving smile. No, ma'am. They're ours. Human ships. A new voice crackled over the comm system. Argos, this is Admiral Helena Chen of the UEN Thermopylae. Looks like you could use some assistance. Relief and pride surged through Maya's chest. Admiral Chen, your timing is impeccable. We received your distress call. Earth Command unanimously voted to respond. No one messes with humans or those under our protection. The 7th Fleet is right behind us. On the main view screen, the approaching human vessels came into view, sleek, purpose-built warships led by the massive form of the Thermopylae, humanity's first true battlecruiser. Unlike the exploration-focused Argos, these ships were designed with one purpose: to bring overwhelming force to bear against any threat to human interests. The Dominax war leader watched the human reinforcements approach with growing alarm. How many vessels? 8 in the vanguard. Long-range sensors detect at least 14 more approaching, his tactical officer reported. Their weapon signatures suggest significantly greater firepower than the exploration vessel we've been engaging. The war leader hesitated, unused to retreating from a harvest world. The Dominax had encountered resistance before, but never at this scale, never so organized. The Deathworlders have arrived in force, he finally said. Signal all vessels to withdraw. We will return with a proper battle fleet. Admiral Chen's voice radiated cold confidence as she addressed the Dominax commander. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Navy. You have attacked a human vessel and threatened a species under our protection. The Gamma-3 system is now under human protection. Any return will be considered an act of war against Earth and all our allies. The Dominax mothership began powering its engines, preparing to withdraw. This dispute is not ended, humans. The Dominax Imperium extends across 17 star systems. You have made a powerful enemy today. Chen's reply was unflinching. So have you. Humanity may only inhabit 9 systems so far, but we evolved fighting everything our world could throw at us, and then fighting each other. Now we've decided to fight for others who can't fight for themselves. Consider carefully whether that's a force you wish to test. The Dominax fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, leaving the system as quickly as they had arrived. On the planet's surface, the Vasheri emerged from their shelters, scales glittering with vibrant colors as they watched the human ships take up protective positions in orbit. Sirifal stood with the Council of Voices, their faceted eyes reflecting the distant shapes of Earth's vessels. "They came," whispered one voice, scales pulsing with disbelief. "They fought for us." "They did more than fight," Sirifal replied. "They changed everything." 3 days later, Captain Donovan stood in the grand chamber of the Vasheri Collective alongside Admiral Chen. The crystalline structure had been transformed from a makeshift hospital into a meeting hall where representatives from both species gathered to formalize their new relationship. "Today marks the beginning of an alliance between our peoples," Sirifal announced, their scales rippling with iridescent patterns of joy and solemnity. "The Vasheri have always been seekers of knowledge, cultivators of life. Now we learn perhaps the most important lesson, that in a galaxy of predators and prey, there are also protectors." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "Humanity accepts this alliance with pride. Our histories are different, our evolutions distinct, but our futures are now intertwined. Earth will establish a permanent defensive presence in this system, and we invite Vasheri scientists to work alongside our own to share knowledge beneficial to both our species." Maya watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. The Argos was being repaired in orbit, its battle scars a testament to humanity's first interstellar conflict and its first interstellar alliance. Later, as human and Vasheri representatives mingled in cultural exchange, Sirifal approached Maya privately. "There is something I do not understand, Captain Donovan," the Vasheri voice said, scales shifting to a questioning blue hue. "Why did you fight for us when you could have simply observed or reported our fate? The Dominax called your world a Deathworld, yet you show compassion that contradicts such an origin." Maya considered the question carefully. "Perhaps it's because of our Deathworld origins, not despite them. Humans learn through countless generations that cooperation often means survival. We fought so many battles against nature and ourselves that when we finally reached the stars, we carried with us a promise to be better than our history, to protect rather than conquer. The Dominax believe strength gives them the right to harvest the weak," Sirifal observed. "That's the irony," Maya replied with a small smile. "Our strength comes precisely from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. It gives us purpose beyond mere survival." Sirifal's scales rippled with understanding. "Then perhaps what makes Deathworlders truly dangerous is not their capacity for violence, but their capacity for compassion, and their willingness to fight for it." Maya nodded. "Exactly. The galaxy called Earth a Deathworld because of its dangers. But those dangers forged us into what we are, a species that understands threat and response. Yes, but also one that recognizes the value of all life, however different from our own." As Maya looked out over the gathering, humans and Vasheri sharing knowledge, building connections, she knew that word of this alliance would spread across the stars. Other species would learn what the Dominax had discovered, that humans from Earth, the Deathworlders, had arrived on the galactic stage, not as conquerors, not as harvesters, but as defenders. And any who threatened those under human protection would face the full determination of a species that evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day, and failed. In the coming years, as humanity expanded its protective umbrella over more vulnerable species, a saying began to circulate among the stars: "When the predators come, Call on the Deathworlders. They know how to fight, and why it matters. The Vasheri would never become warriors themselves. It wasn't in their nature. But they became invaluable allies, their unique biological understanding and technological innovations complementing human strengths. Together, they formed the foundation of what would eventually become the Galactic Cooperative, a union of diverse species united by the principle that strength measured in destruction was no strength at all. The true measure of power was what you chose to protect.